Her heart ached with each step she took away from him, away from her home, her family, her life. She walked for what seemed like hours, her feet growing heavier with each passing moment. The weight of her decision pressing down on her chest, stealing her breath. Why had she done it? Why had she left? He stood at the edge of the dock, his silhouette a stark outline against the fiery hues of the setting sun. The rhythmic slap of the waves against the wooden planks was the only sound that dared to break the heavy silence. He didn't call out to her, didn't raise his voice, but his eyes, they spoke volumes. They were filled with an anguish that mirrored her own, with a pain that resonated deep within her soul. And in that moment, she knew she had made a terrible mistake. But it was too late. She had already boarded the train. The whistle blew, echoing her heartbreak. As the train pulled away, she saw him running alongside it, his face pale, his eyes wide with a desperate plea. She wanted to scream, to tell him everything would be all right, but no sound escaped her lips. All she could do was watch as he disappeared into the growing darkness, taking with him the last shreds of her resolve. She had left him, left them, convinced that it was for the best, convinced that her decision, though agonizing, was the right one. Now, clutching the worn fabric of the seat, she questioned everything. What had driven her to this? What had caused the wedge to form between their love, the distance that had grown until it consumed her, suffocating her with its immensity? Days bled into nights, and the rhythm of the train wheels became the soundtrack to her misery. With each mile that separated her from him, from the life they had built, she felt a piece of her soul fragmenting, leaving her hollow and incomplete. The vibrant colors of the world seemed to fade, replaced by a monotonous gray that matched the bleak landscape of her heart. She had been so sure that she needed more, that she deserved more than the life that lay before her, more than the expectations that society and her family had placed upon her, more than the whispers that had followed her for years. She's just a simple village girl, she never amount to anything. Those words, once a distant echo, now roared in her ears, drowning out the memory of his voice, his touch, his love. In the quiet moments, when the world around her grew silent, she heard his laughter echoing in her ear. She smelled the familiar scent of the bakery, the warm embrace of his hug. She saw glimpses of their life together, the small joys, the shared dreams, the love that had bound them together. And with each memory, the guilt tightened its icy grip around her heart. She had left him, left them, because she thought she could do better, because she believed that somewhere out there, beyond the horizon, there awaited a life of luxury, of glamour, a life where she would be celebrated, not just tolerated, where she would be cherished, not merely endured. But all she found was loneliness, a gilded cage that imprisoned her, suffocating her with its suffocating opulence. She had traded the warmth of his love for the cold comfort of societal acceptance. The vibrant tapestry of their life together, woven with the threads of trust, loyalty, and genuine affection, been sacrificed at the altar of her vanity. Now, amidst the faded grandeur, she realized the magnitude of her folly. She had left for freedom, but all she wanted was his arms again. The strong arms that had held her when she cried, the arms that had cradled her in the darkness, the arms that had promised her forever. But forever had a way of vanishing, leaving behind nothing but regrets and longings. As the train rattled on, she closed her eyes, tears tracing paths down her cheeks. In her dreams, she reached for him, but her touch was met with the coldness of the grave. She woke up with a gasp, the chill of his absence seeping into her bones. The realization that some loves, once lost, are never truly found again.